Daredevil. Hey everyone, I'm Alex. Thanks for clicking and welcome to this lesson on using first and last with the past simple. So these two words are very common, use them every day. And I'm going to show you the grammar structures today of how you can use these words correctly in a sentence. So these words basically replace the two phrases, the first time I did something, or the last time we did something, or we were somewhere. But you can just put them in front of verbs or after the verbs in some cases, which I will show you today. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 different constructions. The first is the past simple construction for an affirmative sentence. The second is the question formation with the past simple. The third is the affirmative sentence construction with was or were, the verb to be in the past. And the final construction is with was or were in the question form. So let's look at these. Here we have, I'll read the sentences first, and then we'll look at the structure. So here's the sentence. I first played Final Fantasy when I was around 14 years old. Those of you who don't know, Final Fantasy is a Japanese role-playing game, a video game series. So I first played Final Fantasy when I was 14 years old. I can also say the first time I played Final Fantasy, I was 14 years old. All right, next sentence. We last saw each other in January, or the last time we saw each other was in January. So you can see by putting these words like in the middle of a sentence and not saying the first time, the last time, you actually get a more compact, shorter sentence. Now, let's look at the structure. You have subject, so I, we, plus first or last, so I first, we last, plus the past verb. That's it, all right? So I first played, we last saw, they first kissed, he first hired, okay? We first drove, for example. We first traveled to China when we were 22 years old. We have been to China many times since then, but we first traveled to China when we were X amount of years old. All right, so just remember, subject plus first or last plus the past verb. Remember, this is for past simple, and it makes sense because you're talking about the first time you did something in the past or the last time you did something in the past. Question construction, very similar. We have question plus, just like every past simple question. So you have your question word, who, what, where, when, why, how, plus did, plus the subject, plus first, last, plus the base verb. Because remember, in past simple questions, you're using the base verb because you have the auxiliary did, okay? So let's look at some examples. When did you last finish a book? So this question is like asking, when was the last time you finished a book? When did you last finish a book? Next, where did you first meet your wife? So what was the first place, right? Tell me the first place where you met your wife. Did you meet her at work? Did you meet her in a park? Did you meet her where? Okay, so some other examples. Let's see. When did you first know that you wanted to be a pilot, for example? All right, not bad. All right, let's keep going. So was and were. Let's look at the sentences. Jeremy was first hired in 2007. So maybe Jeremy has had, this has been with one company for a long time. When was he hired? He was first hired in 2017. Now, this could also mean that maybe Jeremy left his job for a little while, tried something different, and then he came back to the company. Say, no, but he was first hired in 2017, then he left the company, and then he was rehired in 2018, for example. All right, too much talking, too much. Next, we were first here last year, okay? So you're visiting a place, it's a vacation spot maybe. Say, wow, this place is beautiful. Do you remember, right? We were first here last year. So the first time we were here was last year. So here's the construction. You have your subject, you have was or were plus first or last plus a number of options, okay? Plus a preposition or a location or an adjective or a past participle. If you use a past participle, you're using the passive form. So here, Jeremy was first hired in 2017 is a passive sentence. He was hired by a company, okay? So adjective, let me give you an example. I was last happy when I was 16 years old. It's very depressing, right? The last time I was happy, I was 16 years old. So location, right? Like I was first here. We were first there. And a preposition, I was first with him when I was, I was first with him when I was 15 years old. So if you are someone, and this is your boyfriend you're talking about, or an ex-boyfriend, I was first with him when I was 15, or I was first with her when I was 15. Okay, so you have the preposition with. So you have many options here. Now let's look at the question structure of this. So we have the question word, who, what, where, when, why, how, plus was or were, plus the subject, plus first or last, plus any of these options. Now, you may have noticed there was a different example here a few seconds ago. I realized I made a mistake and I used an example that used this structure instead of this structure. So you kind of had like a bonus visual example that I'm not even going to mention because I already erased it. But let's look at an example of this question structure with was or were. So, where were you first stationed? Now, this is a very specific context. Those of you who have ever done military service, this might be a question that is familiar to you. So if you are in the military and the military tells you, okay, you have to go to, this place, you must go here. This is the first place you are stationed, you are sent by the military, to do your activities, your military activities. So where were you first stationed? Okay, there you go. So to recap, you can use first or last with the past simple as a shorter way of saying the first time, the last time, okay? The structures are a little different, but it's more compact and it's very common. So you can have, for example, I first played Final Fantasy when I was around 14 years old. We last saw each other in January. So remember, subject, first or last, past verb. Subject, first or last, past verb. We first went. I first saw. She first came. Okay, so whenever it was. All right, next question. When did you last finish a book? Where did you first meet your wife? So question, did, subject, first, last, base verb. It's a long formula, but the more examples you see, the easier it is, right? Where did you first? When did you last? Who did you first? Who did you last? Then we have was or were. So subject plus was or were plus first or last plus all this stuff. Preposition, location, adjective, past participle. What you will notice is here you have, right, the subject plus first or last plus past verb. Here it's flipped. So you're using subject plus was or were, right, the verbs, and plus first or last. Okay, so you're kind of flipping it with was or were. So be verb before first last, and the main past verb after first or last. Examples again. Jeremy was first hired in 2017. We were first here last year. And question, you see the form here. It's too long for me to say again. So let's just look at the example. Where were you first stationed? There we go. Now, if you want to test your understanding of this material, as always, you can check out the quiz on engvid.com. While you're there, check out all the other videos that we have done, not just me, but all the other cool teachers like Ronnie and James, and who else is there besides Ronnie and James? Rebecca and Emma and Jill and Benjamin and other people that I'm missing because my memory is terrible right now. Anyway, lots of cool teachers there. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If this is the first video that you've ever watched from me, click that subscribe link, hit the bell there, and check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Till next time, thanks for clicking.